Hi, today I want to introduce you to my version of the 3-octave scales. Mastery of scales is, of course, a fundamental component of cello technique, and the primary reason to do scale work is to refine one's intonation. But by adding various bowing patterns and by increasing the speed, scales can be useful tools in the development of a complete, even a virtuosic technique. Of course, my version of the scales utilize Reis Method principles and notate two-point structures. By making sure each tone is formed with a balanced hand structure and that each tone moves to the next as efficiently as possible, you should be able to gradually increase your tempo while maintaining good intonation and mitigating tension. You don't really have to interpret scales musically, which is great, because this allows you to focus all your attention on intonation, sound quality, and the physical technique. With your hand and arm centered over the C string, grab hold of the D with a neutral grasp, neither leaning backward or forward. Now lean forward toward E, formed with 3 and thumb, and then F, formed with 4 and 3 as the thumb here stops pressing into the neck. Each structure should precisely replace the previous one, so that there are never more or less than 2 pressure points at a time. Now as the hand and arm reposition over the G string, the thumb sliding slightly to the right, grab hold of the A with a backward grasp, placing the A ever so slightly lower on the fingerboard than first finger D was on the C string. Lean forward to B, formed with 3 and thumb, and C, formed with 4 and 3 as the thumb releases. Continue similarly on the D and the A strings. On a 4-3-D, shift forward to the 4th position and grab hold of E with 1 and thumb. F will be formed with 2 and thumb, and G with 4-3. On this structure, elevate your left arm as you shift forward your first finger to the 7th position, grabbing hold of A with 1 and thumb. During this shift, the forearm should calmly reposition from a perpendicular to the fingerboard orientation to a diagonal one. Do not tense your muscles during this reorientation. Now continue forward toward B, formed with 2 and thumb, and C, formed with 3 and thumb. Notice I only press my thumb plus 1 other digit at a time. In the descent, trace the opposite shape down the A string. After the A harmonic, calmly reposition the arm to a perpendicular orientation, and this time grab hold of the G with 4 and thumb. F is a 2-1 structure with relaxed thumb. E is formed with 1 and thumb. Now shift back to first position D and form that note with 4 and 3. After the open A, reposition the arm over the D string, the thumb sliding slightly to the left, and lean forward onto the G, forming this note with 4 and thumb since it was preceded by the open string. This 4th finger G is ever so slightly higher up the fingerboard than D on the A string was. Now lean backward for a 2-1 structure on F, then 1 thumb, and open D. Reposition the arm, slide the thumb to the left, and lean forward onto the C, forming it with 4 and thumb, since it was preceded by an open string. This 4th finger is ever so slightly higher up the fingerboard than G on the D string was. Lean back onto B, formed with 3-2, then 1 thumb, and open G. Reposition and lean forward for the F, forming it with 4 and thumb. The 4th finger is ever so slightly higher up the fingerboard than C on the G string was. Lean back toward E, formed with 3-2, then D with 1 and thumb, and open C. With your hand and arm centered over the G string, grab hold of the A with a neutral grasp, neither leaning forward or back. Then lean forward toward B, played with 3 and thumb. Then form C with 4 and 3 as the thumb here stops pressing into the neck. Each structure should precisely replace the previous one so that there are never more or less than 2 pressure points at a time. Now as the hand and arm reposition over the D string, the thumb sliding to the right, grab hold of the E with a backward grasp. placing the E ever so slightly lower on the fingerboard than first finger A was on the G string. Now leading with your thumb, extend to the F sharp, releasing your first finger only as the 2 and thumb structure is established. After playing G sharp with 4-3, reposition over the A string by slightly dropping the left arm and sliding the thumb to the right. Grab hold of the B with a backward grasp. The B is ever so slightly lower on the fingerboard than E was on the D string. Now try and visualize a single forward-leaning pathway for the arm to travel all the way up to the final A in the 3rd octave. In other words, each finger or structure will be rotated slightly forward of the preceding structure. I form the C with 2-1 and shift the 3rd position, forming D with 1 and thumb, and then 3-2 on E. I shift my first finger to the 5th position. As I do this, my forearm calmly adopts a diagonal relationship to the fingerboard. Don't squeeze the muscles shut during this reorientation. Now 2 and thumb on G sharp, and 3-2 on A, where I now release my thumb and bring it around to the front of the cello. As I enter thumb position, I form B with 1 and thumb, then 2-1, then 1 thumb, then 2-1, then 1 thumb, 2 thumb, 3 thumb. I only use finger thumb structures for the final ascending notes because for me at least the intonation is more consistent. After the high A, my arm begins tracing a backward leaning pathway all the way down the A string. I move to a 3-2 structure on E, as my forearm here calmly returns to a perpendicular orientation. Don't squeeze the muscles shut during this reorientation. Now 1 thumb, 2-1, 1 thumb, and open A. The left arm raises and the thumb slides to the left. I lean forward and grab hold of the G with my thumb since it was preceded by an open string. Then back toward 2-1, 1 thumb, open string. The left arm raises and the thumb slides to the left. I lean forward and grab hold of the C with my thumb since it was preceded by an open string. Notice the 4th finger here is ever so slightly higher up the fingerboard than G on the D string was. Now 3-2, and finally 1 and thumb. There are 2 new elements to introduce in F major, both relating to extensions. In bar 25, I lean forward from B flat to C, leading with my thumb in the extension, but here as I reach the 2nd finger C, instead of releasing my first finger, I release my thumb. The 2-point structure for C then is an extended 2-1. In the descent, as I return to that same C in bar 30, you will see the first appearance of the fingering or structure notation X2-1, an X over a 2 over a 1 above the note C. This means that the structure is extended and that the extension took place during the motion, in this case a shift from the preceding tone. This extension should be fully accomplished by the time you reach the C. In other words, I don't shift to the C and then extend my first finger back for the B flat, which is more traditional. Rather, the B flat's first finger will already be in place as I play the C. To play the B flat then, I just have to press my thumb into the neck as I simultaneously release the 2nd finger, leaning back onto the B flat in keeping with the downward trajectory. In bar 53 of the B flat major scale, we see another example of X2-1, as 3rd position D on the A string descends to an already extended C in the 1st position. But now in bar 54, you'll find the first appearance of the other type of X2-1, After the open A, you lean forward toward the G and grab hold of it with 4 and thumb. Now as you lean back toward the F, you simultaneously release your thumb and open the hand into a 2-1 extension. As you play this F with X2-1, the first finger is already in place over the E flat. Since the extensions in bar 53 and bar 54 both take place before the next tone is sounded, during a shift in the first case, but within the same position in the second case, I give them both the same Reis notation symbol, a stacked X2-1. Lastly, I want to highlight D major because the fingering I use and teach does not follow the normal pattern. It is, of course, possible in D major to climb through the third octave with fingering 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3 as per usual. But instead, I leap up a whole step from G in 4th position, formed with 4-3, to thumb on A harmonic. I call this home thumb position. In the descent, I return to the 4-3 G from thumb on A harmonic, since there really isn't time to bring the thumb back behind the neck until the following note, F sharp, formed with 3 and thumb. Getting students familiar with home thumb position is essential when introducing thumb position, and many passages in the repertoire can be played there. The reason I changed the fingering pattern just for the D major scale is to highlight both of these points. So my hope for you is that by working through my version of the 3-octave scales, some of the central Reis Method principles will quickly become intuitive, and you will soon feel comfortable trying them out on whatever repertoire you are working on. Scale work is so essential for improving one's intonation, and hopefully this version of the scales will help make your intonation more reliable, and in general help you to feel more confident in your left hand technique. Good luck, and thanks for watching.